This video is part of our series called Anatomy with Coffee. Today we are going to learn about uterus, what does it do and how does it influence a woman's day-to-day life. We often see anatomy as a lesson for doctors only, but no more. Women need to know about where their kitchen is, where their drawing room is in their own house. Like that, they need to know much about their uterus in order to be aware of what is going on and in order to interpret the scientific information much better way, and also so that she can live healthier and happier life. Uterus is just like a room. To be precise, it is the hotel room for the baby till it stays inside mother's womb. It has got two layers. The inside wall is quite delicate and thin, and it gets renewed every month till menopause. And the outside layer is thick and muscular, and this is more permanent in nature. Every month during periods, the inside lining of the uterus gets broken and it comes out with the blood of the period. Over next month, this layer gets renewed, which in turn gets broken down and removed again during next month's period. It's a cycle. It is also known as menstrual cycle or periods. The outside wall is quite thick and tough, and it is made up of muscle. Remember the muscles you have got? Biceps, triceps and so many. However, uterus doesn't have any bucket of water to transport from one room to another. So what does muscles do there? That's very fascinating. When the baby develops within the cavity of the uterus or the room of the uterus eventually becomes 400 times bigger. These muscles, which cover the outside lining of the uterus, become stretched and relaxed as much as they can. At the time of natural birth, eventually these muscles start to contract very vigorously and eventually push the baby out gently through the birth passage to outside world. Sometimes women ask us what is endometrium and myometrium because they hear these terms over and over again in magazines and newspapers and various other resources. The inside lining of the uterus is known as endometrium. Endo means inside and metrium means something related to uterus. And myometrium is the outer layer. Myo means muscle and metrium means again something related to uterus. We will someday get to know that the inside lining, that is endometrium, is responsible for most of the period's bleeding problem abnormalities. And also it is the place where the most common cancers of the uterus start from. On the other hand, myometrium contains muscle fibers and uterine fibroids actually develops from this outer layer of the uterus, that is myometrium. Funny names, isn't it? It's very difficult to remember. At least when I was a medical student, I had difficulties in remembering these names as well. But these are Latins and Greeks. Let's move on. The top of the uterus is known as fundus, which is basically the head of the uterus. From the ear of that head, actually, two tubes come out which connects the uterus to the ovaries. These tubes are known as fallopian tubes. The sperm move up into the uterus and then through the tube towards the ovary. In the midway of the tube, it meets with the egg, and when the baby is formed, this small baby actually travels back to the uterus room so that it can stay there for next 10 months. The neck of the uterus is known as cervix. We will have to learn a lot about cervix some other day because cervix is a place where many things happen. It's a very hip and happening place, but not many people know about the name of the cervix. But this is simply the neck of the uterus. Of course we can. We have to just follow the natural passage of birth. We follow the same path that the menstrual blood travels to come out to outside world. Only that the blood comes out but camera goes in a reverse way. Through the vagina and cervix, we enter through the natural passage using a very narrow camera. This is known as hysteroscopy. Hysteros means uterus, scopy means camera. With this camera, we can have a very vivid look of the inside lining of the uterus or endometrium. But you have to remember that the myometrium or the muscle layer is not readily visible through this camera, and actually it is very difficult to see the muscle layer with this camera. So therefore, with hysteroscopy, the inside lining can be evaluated, but the muscle layer cannot be seen or evaluated. As I've already said, uterus is a hotel room for the baby, and she stays inside as she grows bigger for over next 10 months. Babies get food from a very astonishing structure which is known as placenta. Placenta is a disc-like structure, and babies get connected with the placenta with a tube-like thing which is also known as umbilical cord. Placenta is fascinating because it contains huge complex numbers of chemical and advanced biochemistry rules, details of which are still not fully understood by medical science. Our body is trained to form a huge backlash of foreign body reaction or allergic reaction if a foreign protein enters in our body. If it's a small pollen from the grass or tree, we keep on sneezing maybe 10 times. This reaction is very much needed because without this foreign body allergic reaction, we will simply die. We will be killed by various virus, fungus and bacteria. Our immunity has been trained over many thousands of years to identify, react and kill foreign pathogens or foreign protein materials. The only way we can tolerate a foreign protein is if we take it via our mouth. Inside the stomach, the foreign protein then will be destroyed or disintegrated into various small parts which the body can digest. But baby cannot come this way, can it? No matter how lovable the baby is for mother, the baby is actually a large foreign protein to mother because it contains not only the protein from mother, but it contains material of father as well. Have you ever thought how over so many months mother's body tolerates the baby so much without causing any foreign protein reaction against the baby? Not only mother tolerates it, but it loves the foreign protein like baby so much. It feeds and rears the baby over many months with care. Placenta is responsible for that. It's a huge gate. But to cross this gate, you need a special ticket, and it has got its mind and very complex biochemical reaction, and it allows only selected protein material either from mother's side to the baby or from baby's side to the mother. Actually, it does not allow any baby protein to enter into mother's body. It also allows only selected mother material to travel to the baby so that the immunity of the mother cannot destroy the baby during pregnancy. If the placenta does not form well and does not exhibit these intense biochemical complex reactions, then problems will come. In some cases, mother's immunity is so strong the placenta cannot control it. As a result, some of the pregnancies will get miscarried. It is also very interesting to know that sometimes the cells of the placenta can start dividing uncontrollably. And whenever there is uncontrollable cell division, it is called cancer. Yes, there is something called cancer of pregnancy. It is known as H-mole or molar pregnancy. Of course, that pregnancy is not a natural pregnancy. It almost gets miscarried or medically it needs to be removed. Otherwise, mother's life can be at threat. Nature is painfully fascinating, isn't it? As the pregnancy grows, the uterus gets gradually bigger. During childbirth, the muscles of the uterus starts to contract in order to take the baby into a journey to the outside world. This muscle contraction starts when there are special signals which generates from mother's brain. It is not still fully understood how the labor or the process of being born starts, but it is thought that some of the chemicals which comes from the core of mother's brain actually incites or starts the labor process. After pregnancy is over, uterus goes back to its original size almost. During the passage of birth, the baby glides through the door of the uterus or the neck of the uterus, which is also known as cervix. We will get to know about the cervix in a much more detailed fashion some other day, but that's all for today. Have a good day. Bye now.